Well, it's just gone down the fucking pipe.
Well, that's a good introduction. And Paul Wilson from RWA Productions. Or is it? That was a really good time, to be fair. It was a nice little. That shows you my improv skills, doesn't it?
Hang on.
How we doing, Paul, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing alright. Yourself, mate?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm clearly doing a lot better than Dov. I can actually get a drink and like consume it correctly. So before we get into what we're going to go through today, which is the transfer. Obviously, the deadline has happened since our last football show, and the FA Cup game against Fulham, which the result is below me visually, a 1-1 draw, in which I think Sunderland were unlucky not to go through to the fifth round. But I'm going to say hi to a couple of people in chat. Dale, welcome along, saying, here we go, tight millionaires owning our club. That's one of the things I want to talk about around transfers. Nathan Thomas, hello, welcome along. And can't believe that no striker was bought, says Dale. So we'll we'll check in with Dov, make sure he's still alive.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm breathing.
What? So you drank water and it went up your nose?
I was rushing up the stairs because I heard you starting to stream. And I thought, oh shit, I got to get there before he introduces me so I can say hi. And as I'm running upstairs drinking water, as I'm running, I like inhale as I'm gonna drink. I just inhale water.
You just feel as a normal human being to do the basics.
Yeah.
There. I've also got just to my side here the live league table. So West Brom and Coventry are playing at the moment. That's about half an hour in, and West Brom are currently in the lead 1-0, which does see Sunderland drop to 10th before our weekend game. But obviously, games in hand, etc., etc. Right. So. Oh, and hi, Jacob. Jacob's popped in the chat saying, "Will Millwall Sunderland 1-1 prediction for tomorrow?" That's we'll get on to predictions for the games ahead a lot later on in the show. So first, transfers. Paul, what are your thoughts of our transfer window without me going through who's in and out?
Well, with the players we brought in, I'm actually happy with.
Okay.
But like I said to you, Hans, deadline day.
Yep.
We were expecting to bring
more in.
More in. Did they come in? No.
They never do. They never do. That's why I don't like with the rumor mill online. I never trust it until it's officially on the Sunderland or like one of the Northeast newspapers, because until it's on one of those, it hasn't gone through the official press and the marketing team. So it's kind of a strange one because you want to announce as many people as quickly as possible. But yeah, it's a strange window, shall we say that, to say the least, because obviously we knew going into the last couple of days, because of the Fulham result and Ross Stewart getting an injury, that we were desperate pretty much for another out-and-out striker. We did get Joe Gelhardt, which is a striker and is a good signing, good promising young player to join the project, but I think we needed a second one in anyways, and the fact that we failed to do that is kind of concerning from my perspective. It's not the end of the world, don't get me wrong. It's disappointing, essentially, more than anything else. I think it does squander our chances of that potential promotion push and the playoff push if it was going to come. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know. I'll quickly read through all the chat as well.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate.
Yeah. Gelhardt for us. Dov, do you have any thoughts on it? No. Fair enough. You. I know. Dov's essentially not a Sunderland fan, so he'll not be on the nose with this.
I'm getting there.
You are getting there. Yeah.
I'm not like a you, but
No, no. Your interest is mainly in Liverpool, so we'll chat a little bit about.
If you get promoted to the Premier League,
we could have some proper. Our team's better than your team, kind of. But yeah, well, we all know Liverpool's doing better than Sunderland, but yeah. Acacia, welcome along. Don Caleno. I am going to butcher that because
Calino.
Calino sounds cool.
It depends. It depends.
It depends.
Country of origin depends how you pronounce it.
Don Calino, welcome along. Sorry I'm late. No worries, Acacia. Thank you for being here. Just watching the Fulham game, and it's a proper tough tonight. You're talking about the Chelsea Fulham game. Is that what's on now in the Prem?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But Paul's keeping an eye on that for us, and I'm keeping an eye on the West Brom game. So, Calino. Okay. Thank you, Don. Welcome along. We need Mitrovic and Willian to get sent off. They're doing some right bad tackles tonight. That's a good question. We'll talk about it a little bit more when we go into the FA Cup predictions. But does a red card in the leagues affect the FA Cup and the other cup games? Because I'm pretty sure this is bringing it back to the Mags. The Mags got a red card in the semi-final second leg. Is that player suspended for the Premier League next match, or is it suspended for the final? Is that how that works, or is the FA Cup different?
No, yeah, it does. Yeah, any player who receives a red card in any of the competitions is suspended across all domestic matches.
So they could play in the next final, the next actual game, which could be like 3 weeks' time, but they've served it during the league. That's really, really quite strange.
Yeah, that is strange. That like.
So, yeah, we'll see it. We'll see how that pans out. Because I'm kind of rooting for Manchester United for the first time in my life. Come the end of Feb. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. So yeah, we'll talk about the players that came in and what I think of those. So you have Pierre-Emerick, you have Lahadji from. So Pierre-Emerick was from West Ham. Lahadji was from LOSC Lille. Both these are French players. Then we have Joe Gelhardt, who came in with 3 days to spare on the transfer window from Leeds. And then finally, Joe Anderson from Everton as a centre-back. I want to say he's more of a right-back than a centre-back, but...
Yeah, which he's travelling down tomorrow.
Who is, sorry?
Mowbray confirmed Anderson's travelling, and so is Gelhardt.
Okay, so we've got 2 of the new lads that are potentially first team starters already. That's really promising. I'm kind of a little bit disappointed like Lahadji and Ekwar aren't yet. I know Ekwar's English is a lot better than Lahadji's. I'm going to butcher his name until I actually hear him say it, by the way. Manchester United are your 3rd team. How many teams do you have, Acacia? Bloody hell. You're supposed to have 1 per league, like per country. So you could have a Scottish team and an English team. Although I don't know why we'd want a Scottish team. But you could have an English team, a French team, a Spanish team, that kind of thing. But Manchester United? Oh, that's gross. Isn't that gross, Dov?
What's gross? Sorry?
Supporting Manchester United.
It is, yeah, get out. I don't want...
But it's not as gross as supporting Newcastle United. So
oh yeah, that's what. Is it?
Yeah, it is. That's like choosing between what you want to eat, spit or vomit. They're both not palatable. Right. So those 4 players are good gaps to fill out in our roster, right, in our player base. We did lose Bailey Wright. Why did he go again?
Rotherham until
Rotherham
season.
Yeah, league strugglers, but he's out on loan. He's not a full sale. So
yeah, it's a loan deal.
It's about game time for him, and I think we've played Rotherham twice already, haven't we?
We haven't played them at their ground yet.
So he's out for that game. So that pretty much guarantees that if they are getting more comfortable with defenders and him in defence as a first team starter, they've got to keep him out of that one game. So there you
'cause
go.
He can't play against us.
Yeah, because it's a part of the loaning agreement. You can't play against your parent club. Kind
No
of.
place about that.
Me too. He is a really good defender. I can see him picking up. He can rescue a lot of points for them this season. The fact that Australia picked him to be in their squad. I know he didn't start much in the World Cup, but the fact that he was in the World Cup squad for Australia shows you how high he's regarded in a national setting.
To be honest, I've seen who Rotherham's last game of the season is.
Who's that?
It's actually Wigan, so could Bailey Wright actually send them down?
Oh, I'm sorry. I know it's. I don't ever really wish relegation on anybody, but the whole Wigan situation. Yeah. At least we're not Wigan. Yeah.
Jesus.
I just the way they're currently set up, it's just embarrassing. It is what it is with Wigan. I'd rather not talk about them too much because it's going to potentially upset a lot of apple carts. So yes, we had a defender in for a defender. We had. Where would you class Lahaji as playing? Like a CDM or a left-sided midfielder?
I don't know, because isn't he?
His FIFA,
Can't he play as a striker?
He can, but his FIFA card says CDM, so that tells me that he's been put on the development squad. It just tells me that It just tells me that he's more focused in the middle of the park than up front. But some of these younger players do have a natural drift towards going further forward, and maybe that's it. But long term, he'll settle down into that holding midfielder position, which I think is to replace Elise, who also went out. We had Gelhardt come in. Was it just after or just before Ross Stewart's second injury of the season? The days are getting mixed up now. It's all happened since last Friday.
It was just before Ross Stewart got injured.
Yeah, so he was in. He was looking to be the partnership. Yeah, because I remember seeing some Quinn and Phillips photos with their faces photoshopped on top. So we've got a new striker in. We've got a striker out of injury, so he could come back at any stage, depending on how well his recovery goes. We've got defenders out and defenders in to replace them. I think it's an okay steadying of the ship logistically. My main concern with this transfer window, though, is the lack of getting a second/third striker in to compete with Ross Stewart if he was fit and Gelhardt for that starting 11. We knew going into it that we needed two strikers going into that window, and getting one is a big dampener. But like I said, it's not the end of the world. We do have a dedicated striker in Gelhardt for the rest of the season if he doesn't get injured.
Fingers crossed he doesn't.
I'm also forgetting that Jaku left. So
Getting a phone call. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh no, it's tough. Leon Jaku, who was apparently a striker, left us as well, but he was never getting any full 90 minutes as a.
Speakman actually classed Jaku as the third striker,
which is absolutely bizarre because he's not scored. He scored one goal for us, right? And that's last season. Out of his 20, he's played 20 odd games and he scored one goal. That is, if he is a dedicated out and out striker, that is abysmal. It's not even. I think it's worse than the Josie Altidore era. It's embarrassing. He's got.
Yeah, it is, mate.
So, that's the transfers that we've got. I think we're all very conscious that second striker would have been vital to our potential and if I'm going to point it correctly, playoff push. We're only 3 points away from playoffs, and we're competing with the rest of them. Essentially, there's a huge pack. I think pretty much anybody in the top half of the table right now can finish in playoffs. It's just having a good spell of games. Do you think what we've done in this window is enough to keep that momentum going? That's an open question to everybody in chat, but Paul, if you have any thoughts.
I'm not sure because I've heard that apparently Mowbray doesn't do well second half of the season. And that's actually coming from a Blackburn supporter. I actually heard it from.
Yeah, but that's historically is not what's it's not guaranteed to happen again. It is a little bit like if you keep doing the same things and expecting different results, that's a sign of insanity. But it's a completely different team, it's completely different players. Maybe this time with the infrastructure that he has at our club will be different and will actually be successful. So what he's done in the past at Blackburn, what he's done in the past at Middlesbrough, wherever he's been in the past, is essentially just a statistic he needs to change. And why couldn't he change it with us? That's my outlook on it. Is it yours?
Yeah, it's the same here. I actually think he'll turn it around.
I'm kind of optimistic of how well our season's going so far. Again, there's a lot of chatter online, essentially saying that it's very disappointing. It's the worst thing we've ever done, and to them, and it's the other side as well. There's the other people who said if you were told you were going to be within 3 points of the playoffs with nearly 30 games on the cards, you would have snapped your hands off at it, regardless of what league position we're in. We are doing really well this season. You've also got to remember we had 12 games out of our 28 without Sims or Stewart in there. Now that Stewart's gone again, we've now actually got a good prospect in Joe Gelhardt, and I think because he's going down to Millwall, it's a prime opportunity for us to kick on. Essentially, we just got to show faith in these new signings that we're going to deliver on the promises that we've said to them when recruiting them.
Yeah, because I think that's why Gelhardt came into us. Because, like I said last time I was on, Tony Mowbray did held talks with Gelhardt and actually saw the Christian Speakman. Apparently, they actually told him the model, the way we're going down.
Yeah.
And apparently Gelhardt was actually over the moon with what Mowbray and Speakman said. So that's why we actually got him well ahead of the other teams that was involved.
When he created the social media posts on it, it was very much once I heard Sunderland were in for the offer, and I jumped at it. But that's obviously easy to say once you've signed a contract. Do we trust in that statement essentially that he did want us the most out of those 3 teams bidding for him? It was us, Wigan, and Blackburn. I think, if I remember what you said last week.
Yeah, because it was Wigan, us, Blackburn, and Middlesbrough.
Yeah. So, and Middlesbrough as well. That's an interesting
Middlesbrough
one.
wanted them as well.
So that's interesting. 2 of the teams that have approached him are above us in the league, like as it stands at the minute. Like not by much, but they are above us. Middlesbrough obviously in 3rd and Blackburn in 7th. Us down in 10th, with a game in hand, bear in mind, is... I don't know. It's a strange one because does he see Sunderland and the project as a big brand and a big thing to enhance his career? So I kind of feel like he would have had the same with either Middlesbrough or Blackburn. So maybe it is. We've actually done the right thing commercially as well with this signing. So good sign.
Yeah, and like case you just put even Swansea was even after Joe Gelhardt.
Yeah. I like Robin Hood's popped in at the chat and said essentially what I'm trying to get across in a sentence or less. I think the club did just fine. Yes, we could have used another striker, but in hindsight, it's easy to see after Stewart's injury, every other team would have likely have been asking too much. I agree with that. Apart from the Stewart injury stuff, I think we needed 2 strikers in, and there was rumours around getting 5 potential strikers on deadline day, which I think is let's just chuck everything up in the air and see what lands on our feet, and nothing did. The old SAFC would have overpaid for somebody that wouldn't have worked out. So yeah, I'm actually fine with the business. I'm generally okay. I probably rated like a 6 out of 10 as a window. Like you said, we've got new signings in. They do seem like they could like literally start tomorrow and fit right into our system. So that for me is a really good sign. The players that we've released, I'm only really concerned around Bailey Wright's going to a competitor, but beyond that, yeah, I think it's been okay.
Yeah, so yeah, because the interview that Speakman done with the club podcast actually,
Yeah,
the Unfiltered podcast, they are now, since the window's closed now, Christian Speakman's now looking well ahead of the summer transfer window.
yeah. So the fact that we're talking about the summer transfer window now is something that really does kind of worry me a bit, because it's that to me is saying we're settling ourselves and we are saying the season is safe and done and we're not going to push for anything. I'd much rather us approach the summer transfer window within like 5 games left of the season when we mathematically know what's probable with the club, not at the end of the January transfer window when we're saying, oh, we could have gotten a couple of players here and there to help bolster and push. I think that's a strange sentiment for me. Let's have a look in the summer window.
Yeah, I don't think Speakman's doing that though. I think it's probably the recruitment team, like Stuart Harvey. I think probably Stuart Harvey's probably going out to watching a couple of teams.
Yeah, and to be fair, recruitment and scouting is a year-long thing. It's not like, oh, we only have 4 months to scout and see what players are on the market. You're supposed to be doing that early doors. So if it's the scouting team saying that, I'm absolutely fine. That's okay. But if it's the head of recruitment, he should have been coming up with this approach long before December even kicked off. Probably even before the World Cup. It's kind of strange. Acacia says Swansea were after Joe Gelhardt too. There's another name in the mix, but I think Swansea are on a little bit of a downward trajectory, really. I think that would have been a bad move for him. The fact that he's at Leeds, who've then been promoted, and he goes to another team who's looking for that double bump back into the Prem. It wouldn't have surprised me if West Brom went for him and he went there, but yeah, it's a logical decision. If Sunderland are coming for it and they're saying you're going to feature as one of our most prominent players going forward, you've got to jump at that chance, really.
Yeah, you do, mate. The thing is, for us getting him, I actually think Sam Greenwood's actually had a good save in this, to be honest.
Who did? Sorry.
Sam Greenwood. He used to play for us.
Yeah.
He plays for Leeds.
Yeah. Why did he have a good say in this?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like what Leicester done with Parekwe.
Yeah.
Do you not think possibly Sam Greenwood spoke to Gelhardt and said to probably to Gelhardt, like what we've done with the young players.
Yeah.
Because
well, to be
Goodwood was in our academy.
Yeah, so I get where you're coming from that. So he's saying basically, if you're looking at like if you're concerned about it being somewhere you don't know, I give you the recommendations of stay in this area, do that thing. talk to these people, that kind of thing. He's the networking bridge for him to come to this club. To see it's actually a decent outfit. So yeah, that's a possibility, but again, it's one of those things that hindsight 2020, we will look back in like 2-3 years time and go, oh, that era was kind of weird, wasn't it? While we were hiring loads of kids and expecting that to work, or why didn't we hire kids sooner and flourish in the Premier League before we got relegated back in 2016-17? It's yeah, like I said, hindsight's a bitch, and yeah, we'll see how this recruitment window actually impacts that. Welcome back, Darv. Hope the phone call went well. I don't know.
He is all good.
Yeah, good. So, but the window was open for a month. Yeah, exactly. You got 4 weeks to make a commercial signing for a talent. Essentially, if the sporting industry, so football, had a open recruitment policy, so basically you could hire who you want when you want, and if you wanted to pay for them. How would that massively change how this sport is kept competitive and fair? Could you imagine, like, if you were working in a restaurant, say, and you lost your cook, because a competitor decided to hire him as a chef, so he's got an upgrade. You've then got a gap that you've got to fill out. Where do you recruit from? You start looking down the pyramid, or you start looking at people up the pyramid who are not getting used and not getting their services used as well. So that's what I think we've approached. We've started to look at the people who are in the 5-star top of the game outfits, the West Hams, the Evertons, the people who are in the Premier League. I don't know how long those two teams are going to be in the Premier League, don't mind. The Los Gleals, who've actually been there, done that, won something, but not letting these people do what they can do best. I think that's a really good sign for Sunderland that we're looking at that market, because if you compare it to the previous transfer window, we were hiring from other League One, League Two teams. Now we're doing the Premier League. We're looking at that upper market of players and quality, and I think that's ultimately a good positive sign. Right. I think we've chatted a lot about the transfer window now, so I will swiftly move it on, and we'll talk about the FA Cup Fulham game, which we drew 1-1. But before we did, sort of think Don, Colino, and Dale are talking about what Tony Mowbray had. Snack-wise, gummy bears, Revels, Jaffa cakes, grapes. What else has he had now? Has he had a Yorkie yet?
He'll get after the game tomorrow.
We'll see what's on the press release. There's a lot of Snickers, but could you what are them little things? The obviously they're like a Mars bar, but they're white inside. This like white nougat.
You're not on about the boundaries, are you?
No, that's coconut. That's coconut.
Is it a Mars bar, but what?
It has like this white nugget kind of thing in it. It's like I want to say Milky Way. But I'm not sure. Yeah, Milky Way. Yeah, Don Colino has said Milky Way. Milky Way. There you go. We'll have a snack pack of Milky Way in the next one, because they are banging. It's a shame I couldn't remember what they were called, but yeah. Right, Fulham game. I think we were unlucky not to win that one.
I will.
Have you watched it? Oh, is DJ
Fulham
here?
game.
DJ's here as well. Welcome along, DJ.
Hello.
Hello. We're halfway through our Mackem football show, but nice to have you on.
Yeah, no, but I've just been sorting stuff out and stuff.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Life happens. Don't worry about it. Aldi's version is the marathon. No, No, a marathon used to be a Snickers, by the way. Or Snickers used to be a marathon. Anyways, 1-1. What did you think of the game?
Who are you talking to?
Oh, I asked just before the marathon Milky Way stuff. You watched it, Dov? So
Oh, I did, yeah. It was a good match to be fair. I think you, if I'm being honest, you got unlucky. I think you probably should have won it. I think for the goal that was scored for Fulham, I think your defense could have done a little bit better, but again, it is what it is.
the moment of brilliance, really, from Kearney, wasn't it?
The moment. Yeah, it was. At the end of the day, it was an astonishing goal. You can't really fault it. It was he dribbled around like 4 or 5 defenders, and they just fucking put it in the back of the net. Yeah. Yeah. Match. I think. Yeah, you got unlucky. Probably should have won it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah. So Don Colino has popped in the chat, Patterson for man of the match. Who would you say was your man of the match? I think you watched most of it.
Yeah, you know, I think I'd agree with Patterson actually.
The goalkeeper, Sunderland goalkeeper. I don't think he had that much to do.
Quite a lot of. Let me have a look at the stats. I think he saved quite a few shots. To be fair to him,
they did have a fair few shots at us, and that, to be fair, we expected that as well. But man in the match, I don't think he had that much to say. He just had to keep his head switched on all that much. For me, it's an outfield player, and it was Ahmad.
Yeah, they had 22 shots, 12 were on target.
12 shots on target. Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. A shot every 9 minutes.
Very well, to be fair to him.
Yeah, okay. I can understand the Patterson approach. Like I said, the Kearney goal to level them back up, I think, was a culmination of allowing them a lot of time on the ball. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Ahmad. The double save. Like I said, yeah, he kept us in the game, and without him, we would have definitely lost that. I think if we had Bass in goal instead, like we might have been promising him the cup games. I'm glad we didn't, because Patterson in goal definitely did a better job than I think Bass could have. So I agree with that one. Paul, what were your thoughts on the Fulham Sunderland game? I say Burnley for a second there, by the way.
Burnley.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on the match?
To be honest, when we scored, I was because the thing is, I was out in the town actually. I was going between 2 pubs because the stream I was watching on, it froze actually when we scored.
Of course it did. Server got loaded.
So I jumped into another pub, and lucky enough, it didn't even freeze. I was like, thank God.
Oh, it wasn't a dodgy link. It was just a full-on stream pause.
Yeah, it was. ESPN as well.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
But I thought we played all right for me.
I think we held our own. Yeah. I'm going to ask.
And, that save from Patterson, but when if only Chris Wiggs' goal actually was onside.
Oh no, that was a 89th minute, a 91st minute. It was like literally just around the 90th minute mark, and it was.
Yeah, because to be honest, when that goal went in, I actually celebrated like mad. But when I saw the offside, I was like, "You've got to be joking."
You must have missed our dramas on the watch along as well then, because DJ saw it at like a full 40 seconds ahead of us. He was celebrating like, "Get in! Look at the fucking screen! Look at the screen! Look at the screen!" And then we're like, "Oh yeah, we just got the goal." And then he goes, "It's been given offside." So VAR was given it offside. Fuck.
Oh, I don't think it was used that game.
I thought it was VAR that was given it offside, or was it the line or then?
I think it was the linesman.
That's interesting. It does make sense because Sunderland don't have VAR, and if the replay goes there, you can't have VAR on one fixture but not the next. Is that right or not? I don't know. I thought if it was there, use it, but if not, We'll find out.
It's a shame we haven't got VAR in it for the replay next week.
Can't believe Murdoch taken off, had him to score first. Yeah. To be fair, apart from Kenny, I can't name a outstanding Fulham player in that match. William did an okay job when he came on, but yeah, I genuinely can't think of another Fulham player who put in their best shift. And I don't think Kenny actually put in his best shift either. I just think he had that moment of brilliance. Right, DJ, are you there? Can you hear?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the Fulham Sunderland game?
I thought it was a great performance by Sunderland, to be honest with you. I thought it was really good. By a lot of pundit standards, Sunderland certainly matched Fulham. You couldn't tell Premier League from Championship. Both teams could have won it if they took the chances, but I was very impressed how we did. Just absolutely gutted at the end because I got overexcited thinking we scored, shouting and watch the screen. But absolutely no complaints whatsoever. It was just a bit of pill with Stewart getting injured.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. I forgot that was the same match. It feels like the last 5 weeks have just blurred into one moment. This transfer window business. The fact that what do you think of Pierre Ekwa coming on the pitch? So he was the only signing that we had in at that moment. That was signed off as fit at least for Sunderland.
He nearly scored, didn't he?
He nearly scored, yeah. But do you think he proved what he is capable of or was capable of with West Ham, or do you think he was just another body on the pitch?
He was in the right place at the right time. I know he didn't score, and he wasn't on for very long. It's all positive stuff, and I'd like to see more of the lad. To be honest with you, we've got no choice with Stewart being out rest of the season, but the fact that he was in there causing a nuisance, it's all positive.
Massively positive.
Yes. I mean, the thing is as well about you to know actually, but that actually was his first time actually in the first team.
Yeah,
fair enough, not for us, but even for West Ham as well.
Yeah, like he wasn't given enough trust, and I think slotting him in, especially against a Premier League opponent, I think shows that the project, I'm doing the air quotes, I've got to do it every time, that the project is actually being delivered on. I would love to see what this project is on paper or in a statement when the end of the season or when the project is over, because there will be an end date for this project, and whether it's marked as a success or failure, I would love to see what the pitch was in the back office to see why that project was the one that was devoted to the most. And it's quite clear everybody's mentioning it, and the players that we're bringing in, we're trusting straight away to do the job. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think, like I said, we're a little bit unfortunate not to take the win from that round. But we get a replay at the Stadium of Light. It's on TV, so we can do another watch along. And
it's on Wednesday.
It's on Wednesday now. I thought it was Tuesday the 7th.
Yeah, it's Wednesday because Sheffield United have got their replay on Tuesday.
On TV as well.
Yeah, those are on ITV.
Yeah, got ya. Okay, so it's been pushed back, but to be fair, it was kind of flexible. And anyways, Man of the World, welcome along. Saying Millwall 1, Sunderland 2. We'll get on to the upcoming match just after our full Fulham review. That threw me off a little bit. So we've mentioned the moment a couple of times. Chris Rigg coming on last 5-10 minutes and then putting the ball in the back of the net. 15-year-old in the 4th round of the FA Cup, thinking he's got the winner against a Premier League opposition, and then it's just taken away from him because it wasn't him who was offside. It was the player, the pass beforehand, that was offside. I'm really happy for him, but really gutted for him at the same time. What do you reckon to Chris Rigg in that? I know he was only on for 5-10 minutes, but what are you thinking around him and Sunderland?
I think for me, I think that I'm just pleased we're giving him that actual game time hands. But one thing I liked about it, when he scored, I'm not sure if you've seen, but he actually got hold of the Sunderland badge and actually got his hand, actually put it to it. And one thing I noticed as well, because it's been on social media, before that game, he actually followed Newcastle stuff on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, I think.
Right.
And after the game, he actually unfollowed every single thing about Newcastle.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you think that's because like the communication between them and Newcastle has gone off? I say them because it's his parents that are essentially looking after it. They'll have a sports agent, but because he's under 16, he's not allowed to sign his own contracts. He's not officially employed anywhere until he turns 16. So, do you think that's him and his cohort of management, his parents and their football agent, have had chats with Newcastle, and they've just basically said he's not worth that much, and they've just went, all right, fuck you then. Is that me oversimplifying what's happened there, or?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's happened that way.
Yeah. Doesn't Dale's come up with a good little point here. So the fact that we're signing new players, bringing them in, and he says does not do our existing players much confidence. I think it does, and the reason I think it does is the ones that have been allowed to leave, Jaku, Bailey Wright, and somebody else, Elise, they knew that the players coming in were going to outcompete them for their position. At least
still at Sunderland.
who am I thinking of? Matete.
Yeah, Matete.
Matete, sorry. I know it was E all over the name. Matete. So I've said Alicia like 5 times in this stream and nobody's correct. Right, so the fact that those 3 have gone out know that they're not going to be in the Mowbray's first team selection, and I do not blame them. The other ones can be. Everybody who's still left in the squad is up for the pickings, and I think the fact that this project promotes people who are ready the game time, that ultimately trumps every other decision. Do you disagree? Agree with that? I'll throw it to DJ if he's here. DJ? Hello. Do you agree or disagree with that?
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was short and to the point. Paul, what about you?
Yeah, I actually have to agree with what you said, mate.
I like people disagreeing sometimes, you don't have to agree all the time. Dov, as somebody who's not like obviously out and out Sunderland fan, do you think that's a smart approach from Sunderland and our roster of players? Is Dov there? Dov's gone. He's still in the call, but I think he's muted himself. Right.
On tonight.
Jacob's travelling home from France from a uni thing, so I think he might have been scouting for Sunderland for some more French players, but don't hold me to that. Elise was good at Fulham, but got a card. The fact that half of our team pretty much got yellow cards, I'm not that concerned about. I think the referee was looking to assert himself, and being in a match with a Premier League team is the perfect time to be strong as a match official. It's good for their careers, right? So,
but to be honest, the only thing that, well, for me that I'm pleased about Wednesday, Luke O'Neill is actually back from suspension.
Yeah, to be fair, it was a 3-match suspension, so that makes sense. Do you think with Luke O'Nien, I think he's very much the Lee Cattermole of this current squad. He is highly likely and very prone to get cards in matches, and that's essentially what we like him for. Some fans absolutely hate it and think he's what's it called, reckless and naive and a bit stupid in some tackles, but ultimately he puts his heart on his sleeve and he plays his legs out, and that's what the rest of the fans like about him, and me included in that second bracket. But I understand, like, we can't have somebody who's very passionate and really wants to put in a good hard tackle get sent off week in, week out. It's just not professional enough, especially when we're looking at consistency and keeping a solid squad. So, the Luke O'Nien situation, mate, you said he's back. Do you think he starts, or do you think one of these new lads takes his place?
To be honest with you, I wish I knew the answer, but I'm not the manager.
No. It's not which one do you wish. It's which one would you prefer? Because Alicia says, okay, Acacia. I've been watching Fear of the Walking Dead. Sorry, Acacia. I can't wait for Lukey Boy to be back on the pitch. I love watching him play. Like I say, he puts his heart on his sleeve, and that's what I really like about players. They put in 100% effort every game, but his recklessness is at the level that we're used to in League One and mid Championship. It's not good for pushing up the leagues. It's fine. Not good getting sent off, injuries.
No, for me, I think probably Mowbray might play the same team like he did against them, but of course,
yeah, okay,
it'll be a mad for Roster.
Okay. So Ahmad just starting up front by himself, little target man, like a mini Messi.
Yeah, you know, like what Ahmad done second half when Roster came off.
There you go. So Don Colino says La Resistance de Sunderland. I'm guessing that's about the French lads coming in. And Dale says new lads with O'Nien on the bench. I'm kind of on board with that. I think Luke O'Nien shouldn't just automatically jump back into the first team squad because we've had 3 games without him now, and during those 3 games we haven't crumbled. We've shown ourselves to be strong and resilient. Yeah, Catamol-esque mentality, says Don. DJ, what are you thinking with Luke O'Nien versus the new lads? Because I think that's ultimately where that position is opening up. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Luke O'Nien, he deserves to still have his chance. He's been so
Mhm.
committed to the club.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't replace him by all means.
Well, we've had to for the last 3 games, though. That's the point. Does he have to compete for his place back because the new lads have actually done a good job, or do you think he automatically gets back into the place because he's better than those newer lads? It's
a tricky one for Tony Moore. It depends if he's stubborn or not, on it. I mean, I don't know. It is a funny one. I can see him just jumping straight back into the side.
I can't see him jumping straight back into the side because he's a good yes man. Like I said, he puts his heart on the sleeve. He does do the Catamol-esque. He does play his heart out every single game. But putting in maximum effort versus somebody with skill and ability, which one wins? I think it's completely opponent dependent.
I mean, it's obviously if the skill of the other players totally outshine O'Nien, then you would think that it's a results business, and the better player has to go on, no matter how likable the other person is. If the other person's a better player and he shows his skills, he'd have not do, wouldn't it?
So the thing I'm getting at here is essentially Dale mentions Millwall's always a dirty game. I'd much rather have a Luke O'Nien on the pitch than a Skiller on the pitch, because
As long as he doesn't get
it's
sent
a,
off.
it's a rough and tumble. Well, if he gets sent off, the new lads come into the next game automatically, don't they? This debate is completely null and void at that point. He's off again, and we've got to just replace him with what's it called, steadier heads. Fun times. But yeah, Fulham game aside, we have a replay against them in about 5 days, just after this Millwall game. So by the time we have the next Friday night football, we will have played that game. So I'm going to ask for your predictions. I'm not sure Darv's back. So DJ, what are you saying for the Millwall replay? Not the Millwall replay, the Fulham replay after the Millwall game.
Oh, God's sake, this is such a tricky one to call, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is, but it's at the Stadium of Light, and I think both teams are going to put out roughly the same squads.
I fancy Sunderland.
So
I think it'll be a tight, something like a 2-1 or a 1-0.
Okay, I'm down with that. Paul?
As it is for me, I don't want this game to go to penalties.
Go on then. So you're saying it's going to be another draw? You're saying it's going to be another draw, but Sunderland lose on penalties? Is that what we're getting at?
No.
No. You're not putting that down. Not recording that. Go on.
No. If we play like we did their ground, and our supporters get behind them at home, I'm going to say 3-0 Sunderland.
3-0. Wow. Okay, that's a huge leap, but I'll take it. Yeah, why not? Dean saying Millwall's a dirty team. We'll talk about Millwall next. Let's go. I'll drive Firmsday out. Acacia's saying a 4-0 Sunderland game, so she's trumping you there, mate. And Dale is saying 3-2 on the night to Sunderland. And I am going to say I'm going to say it's going to go to penalties. I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1 game again, and then we're going to win on penalties 4-3.
That's the next. If it went to penalties, who would you actually let take them?
The new lads, all the young uns. Well, to be fair, that's our entire starting 11. Anybody but Danny Bart. I don't know if I can trust Danny Bart as a penalty taker. I know he's good at stopping shots, but I don't know how good he is at taking them. So yeah, I'd let Ahmad, I'd let literally anybody, Clark, Roberts, Barr, anybody take these shots, but not our defenders. As soon as our defenders get involved, we fuck it up. So yeah, just get the 5 forwards to do it first. So yeah, penalties. Don Colino's also said 1-1. Anyone but Mowbray.
Oh, Mowbray.
Imagine.
Mowbray would be shouting his head off on the side.
Could you imagine? Do you know when your team goes down and you've got to play like your entire starting 11, and then imagine if the 12th kick is your manager's? Oh, Chris Rigg would be a wobbler. I don't know if he would either step up to the moment and it would make the start of his career, or he would just wobble it and
You know what? I would actually love him to score at all.
Oh, it'd be mint. It'd be absolutely mint.
It's on TV as well.
Yeah, which is really good because we can do a good watch along stream without any VPNs, which is really nice. Hello, Lola. Dog's walking up. Right.
Yeah, because if we beat Fulham, we'll actually have Leeds.
Leeds at home as well. So
yes, and on TV.
Dale saying Rigg will score. Malfar, let the Mangas take the last kick. managers. Elliot, could we sign Tony Mowbray as a striker? If he's a free agent, I think we can actually. So he has to just be registered as a EFL player and not an EFL, an FA player, FIFA player, and he can.
Just have to ask Mowbray if he's got his boots.
I'd much rather bring in the academy players who are like 12, like we do with Rig, just to get more academy players in. If we're that desperate for a striker,
Like Max Thompson.
Literally anyone. I'd have Kenny up front.
Anyone.
What's he? Yeah, the ginger keeper.
Well, Carney.
Carney, not Kenny. Carney. Yeah, I'd have Kenny.
You said he would be up front.
I'd have him up front. I know he's a keeper, but I'd put him up front in front of Tony Mowbray. Put it that way. He's got more legs on him.
I'd rather have Alex Pastor score the winner.
Dude. Oh, just put on all of the reserve third choice players. There you go. Right. So, replay. We're all hoping for a Sunderland win. I think that's essentially what we're going at. It's on TV. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to do a watch along stream. Plus, you're going, yeah. So, it's going to be carnage. I'm going to see you on camera, aren't you? You're going to pitch invade if we win. Please don't pitch invade. It's a bad idea. I'm not going to do it. So,
you just hear me shut my voice off.
Tomorrow's match is Millwall. What are we thinking around that one, boys and girls and lads and lasses? People with glasses? Don't know if you need to specify that anymore. I'll go first on this one. Millwall are obviously just above us with, I'd say, a very, very, very similar season to what we've had so far. They've got a game in hand on us, but what we do better than them is score. What they do better than us is defend, like by a country mile. We've got similar form. We're on a similar trajectory. For me, it's got written a draw all over it. I'd much rather prefer Sunderland win, obviously, but I'm going to say a 2-2 Sunderland Millwall draw. What are you going for, boys? DJ's 2-0 Sunderland. Paul is?
I'll take a draw 1-1.
Oh, that voice break.
What more to score for them? Because I don't know what was for them now.
That means he would have played against us 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
For two different teams. You think a 1-1 draw then?
Right, what more to score for them? And you know what? Gelhardt to score for us.
Do you reckon Gelhardt's coming on the bench or from the bench, or do you reckon he's starting?
Tony Mowbray actually gives the hint that Gelhardt will be starting.
That's good fucking news.
All his strikers, so
yeah,
best starting.
Dale is saying 2-1 for us. DJ, who are you saying scoring in our 2-0 win tomorrow?
Depends who's going to get a start, but I think I fancy Rig will get one.
Rig, okay.
I'll go for the lad from Leeds.
Gelhardt.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I can see Darv is still on mute, so I'll skip over Darv unless you're there, mate. 3, 2, 1. Nope. Okay, cool. Dale is saying 2-1 to us. And Acacia is saying Sunderland 0-3 against Millwall. Is that you're saying Millwall are going to beat us 3-0? I really don't like that. But I'll warn you, my team, Sheffield United, a role player, Ollie Burke, is on loan at Millwall from a German team. So, yes, I'm ready to shoot, lads. My tea is ready. No worries, DJ, mate. Enjoy your tea. Hopefully it's not pig's trotters. You're eating actual food. Sunderland to win. Okay, I prefer that occasion. Sunderland 3-0 win. DJ, if you need to jump, feel free to, mate. Don't worry about it. We've got about 5 minutes. Oh, there you go. Right, Dov's back.
Sorry, my dad phoned and he fucking talks over it in Jesus Christ.
Look, it's all right. This has not been recorded. You don't need to evidence your disdain for conversations with your father. We've just gone through the Fulham replay prediction, and then we're doing the Millwall prediction.
Yeah, sorry, I know we're going back to the Fulham game, but
very quickly, yeah.
Patterson was actually the highest rated player
The
in
what?
that game.
The best rated player. Yeah, because he made 12 saves, and you get
0.3.
Yeah, who's the best outfield player for Sunderland?
Give me a second to find out.
Yeah, but replay. What do you reckon the scoreline's going to be? I said a draw, penalties, and we'll win 4-3 on penalties.
We're playing Millwall, right?
So Millwall's our Saturday game, and Wednesday is the Fulham replay.
Fulham. I'm gonna stick with my original for the first. I'll go 1-0 Sunderland.
Okay, I'll take that. Thank you very much. Sunderland are through to play Leeds.
Millwall.
Tripe09 says Dale to get the goals. Dean saying a tight 1-0 to Sunderland against Fulham. Millwall. It's been a long day.
What are Millwall? Oh,
the one place. Yeah, they're ahead of us, one game in hand. But we've scored 8 more goals on them and conceded 5 more too. We have a much better goal difference, but goal difference.
Your last 5 game played as well are literally identical.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a tough game. You know what? I'll go for a 0-0.
0-0. I said 2-2. Yeah. So there you go. A lot of people saying tight game. Imagine it's been. I can imagine all of a sudden we'll see a game where Sunderland dominate like we did against Reading, and yeah, it could be like 6-0 or something. Just watch the space. Could be the best game Sunderland play all season, and not this tight affair that everybody's expecting.
So the highest rated outfield player was actually defender.
Danny Bart.
So the highest Sunderland outfield player was Hume with a 7.8.
I'll try Hume.
Yeah.
Okay.
The actual highest altogether was Solomon with an 8.
Where are you looking at for these reviews?
It's on FootMob. It tracks everything. It's so good. It's like I can click on Patterson and it'll tell me his stats. So he played for 90 minutes. He made 10 saves. Got a pass accuracy of 25%. He made 5 diving saves, 8 saves inside the box, 1 punches, 6 throws, 1 high claim, 13 recoveries, and 39 touches.
So what you're getting out there is essentially, without Patterson, we would have lost that. Without
Patterson, you would have been
absolutely trounced on. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you would have been panned.
Fair. We've
that's why I'm pleased Patterson actually plays, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you know, if we lose and every team directly below us win, the lowest we will finish the day on is 14, which I think is a bit of a fall from grace from where we're at, form-wise at least. Is that Ross Stewart? Yeah, was injured.
Yeah, he has the worst rating in the league, but it's probably because he was injured.
He was injured in the 20th minute.
Yeah, but he's got. If you 20 minutes, he's got a 6.1, so that's not bad actually.
He had 2 shots, didn't he?
As I'm going to say this now. Yeah. If Stewart wasn't injured, you know what? I think we would have beat Fulham.
Yeah,
I think so too. Because at that point we're already ahead, weren't we?
I think you should. Yeah, you're 1-0 up. I think you should have beaten them anyway, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Fulham weren't proving themselves to be like the top tier Premier League opposition, were they?
No.
That's the problem with scoring early. Anyways, we are over the hour, so I am going to start wrapping it up there. You know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe. Do the same for Darvlaw's channel at Darvlaw. Do the same for Paul's channel at RWA Productions. And for DJ's channel at DJ Earth SAFC. Well, I'll pop a little message in the chat just in case you want a quick link. And that's it. However, lads, catch you tomorrow on the watch along.